The Zephyrian patrol cruiser's hull gleamed under the binary stars of the Kepler 442 system as it intercepted the small human freighter Wandering Spirit. Captain Thexol's mandibles clicked with satisfaction as his boarding party surrounded the lone human pilot in the cargo bay. "Human Marcus Chen," Thexol's translator crackled, his forearms gesturing dramatically. "You have violated Zephyrian trade sanctions by carrying medical supplies to the quarantined colonies of Theta Prime. Surrender your weapons immediately." Marcus stood calmly among the towering insectoid warriors, each armed with plasma rifles that hummed with deadly energy. At barely 6 feet tall, he seemed insignificant compared to the 8-foot Zephyrians, with their chitinous armor and razor-sharp claws. His hands rested casually at his sides, and a small smile played at the corners of his mouth. "Weapons?" Marcus asked, his voice carrying an odd note of amusement. "You want me to drop my weapons?" "Immediately," Thexol hissed, his compound eyes reflecting the ship's harsh lighting. "Any attempt at resistance will result in your immediate termination. The Galactic Council has classified humans as a Class 3 species, dangerous but manageable. We know your kind carries primitive projectile weapons and crude energy devices." Marcus nodded slowly, then began pulling off his worn leather work gloves, finger by finger. The Zephyrians watched in confusion as the human carefully set the gloves on a nearby cargo crate. "There," Marcus said, flexing his now bare hands. Weapons dropped. Thexol's mandibles twitched in what passed for Zephyrian laughter. "Foolish human, those are not weapons. We scanned your vessel. We know you carry no plasma rifles, no particle beams, no molecular disruptors. What could a primitive mammal, like you possibly—" The captain's words died as Marcus moved. What happened next would be debated in military academies across the galaxy for decades. Marcus didn't reach for a hidden gun or activate some concealed device. Instead, he simply stepped forward and struck. His first punch collapsed Sub-Commander Veek's thoracic cavity with a wet crunch that echoed through the cargo bay. Before the Zephyrian could even process what had happened, Marcus had pivoted and driven his elbow into Warrior Clint's neck joint, severing the alien's spinal cord with surgical precision. The remaining Zephyrians tried to bring their weapons to bear. But Marcus was already among them, moving with a fluid grace that seemed impossible for such a compact frame. His bare hands became instruments of devastating efficiency, fingers that could crush chitin, palms that could shatter bone, knuckles that could punch through armor plating designed to stop high-velocity projectiles. Thexol fired his plasma rifle, but Marcus had already rolled beneath the beam. The human's fist connected with the captain's knee joint, and the sound of splintering carapace filled the air. As Thexol collapsed, Marcus caught the falling plasma rifle and used it as a club to brain the warrior behind him. In less than 30 seconds, the entire boarding party lay broken and dying on the cargo bay floor. Marcus stood among them, barely breathing hard, his knuckles split and bleeding, but his expression calm. "You see," Marcus said conversationally to the dying Thexol, "you made a fundamental error in your classification system. You assumed that because we don't carry exotic weapons, we aren't dangerous. But you forgot something important about human evolution." He knelt beside the captain, whose compound eyes were glazing over with shock. "We didn't evolve on a world of energy beings or crystal entities. We came from a death world, a planet where everything was trying to kill us. Our ancestors survived by becoming the deadliest predators in an ecosystem full of nightmares. We are the weapon." Thexol's mandibles moved weakly. "Impossible." The scans showed Class 3 classification. "Your scans were looking for technology," Marcus explained patiently. "But human bones have a tensile strength of 150 megapascals. Stronger than steel. Our muscle fibers can generate forces that would tear apart most sentient species. We can survive injuries that would kill a dozen Zephyrians, and we can keep fighting long after our bodies should have shut down." He gestured to his hands, now purple with bruising but still steady. "These aren't primitive appendages, Captain. They're precision instruments evolved over millions of years to grip, crush, and kill. When I dropped my gloves, I wasn't surrendering. My weapons, I was revealing them." The cargo bay fell silent except for the dying captain's labored breathing. Marcus stood and retrieved his gloves, pulling them back on with careful deliberation. The medical supplies I'm carrying will save thousands of lives on Theta Prime, he continued, checking the seals on the cargo containers. Your quarantine is a political tool, not a medical necessity. Children are dying while your government plays power games. Thexol's voice was barely a whisper. The Council will send fleets. We'll hunt you. Marcus smiled grimly as he headed back to the cockpit. Let them come. But they should remember this moment, Captain. When they update their classification system, they should note that humans aren't dangerous because of what we carry. We're dangerous because of what we are. We don't need weapons because we evolved to be one. As the wandering spirit disengaged from the Zephyrian cruiser and jumped to hyperspace, Marcus transmitted a message to the Galactic Council. It was simple and direct. Medical supplies delivered, as promised. Next time, try asking nicely instead of pointing guns at the person trying to save lives. Also, you might want to reclassify humans as a Class 1 species. Trust me on this one. The message was received, logged, and would eventually lead to a complete overhaul of the Council's xenobiological threat assessment protocols. But that was a story for another day. For now, Marcus Chen settled back in his pilot's seat, pulled his gloves tight, and set course for the outer colonies where children waited for medicine and hope. Behind him in the cargo bay, the empty spots where his weapons should have been remained conspicuously absent. Because sometimes, the deadliest weapon in the galaxy was simply being human.